Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a hot take video. I feel like I'm going to make some people very angry in this video, but I feel like these are just fun to make. Everything in this video is my opinion. I know people love these books, absolutely love these books, but I gotta talk about it. I just didn't get the hype for pretty much any of these on this list. I feel like some of them I can understand it, but in general, I don't get it. There are some books that I read that are so popular that I'm just like, why? I don't understand why these are so popular. And that is basically what we're going to be talking about today, is books I just don't get the hype of. And I have done one of these before. I was trying not to do overlapping. There may be some overlapping, so if you have watched that one, again, I don't know if I actually did. Did I do a video like that? Just ignore it. Just pretend it doesn't exist, okay? But most of these are newer releases, I believe. I think there's two books that are kind of older, but otherwise it's pretty newer things. There's not that many. Again, I try to go with newer stuff and then just stuff I hate that I've always hated and I will not pass up the chance to talk about again. But yeah, this is just for fun. This is my own opinion. These are very popular books. Plenty of people out there like them. My opinion doesn't really matter about these books. Let's just get right into it. First, I want to talk about an author that I just don't get, and I think I just don't get it because I like her other books under her pseudonym, but I'm talking about Rachel Hawkins. The Villa, I don't even remember the other names of the books. I read 3 of them, and I don't, was The Wife Upstairs, The Villa, and then The Reckless Girls. There we go. Those 3 books, I have read all 3, and they are a variation between 1 and 2 stars, and it's not like the writing's bad. The twists are the problem. They're so bad and I don't like them. And I think we started off on the wrong foot with that author because I read The Wife Upstairs first, which was her first thriller book, I believe. She basically marketed her first book as a Jane Eyre retelling. So all us Jane Eyre girlies out there, I feel like there's not that many, but I am one of them. She marketed it as a retelling to Jane Eyre fans. And then at the very end, she was like, I hate Jane Eyre and that's why I write this. And I was like, I was so mad. I was so mad what happened in that book. So that was not a good way to start off our relationship because there was no way to recover after that. There was no way to recover after you basically just called out Jane Eyre to the people that you marketed this book to. So I was not a fan. I did not like that. And then it just went downhill from there. And The Villa was one that I actually thought was going to redeem her. But again, the ending was just so bad. That I was just not impressed. I was very not impressed. But the weirdest thing about Rachel Hawkins is that I love her books as Erin Sterling. They're some of my favorite romance books. They're witchy, cute Halloween romance books. And I don't understand how those are so good, but the thrillers, mysteries are so bad. So that is why she is on this list, because I am confused. I am confused and it drives me nuts and it makes me dislike her. Next, we have an oldie. I was gonna say oldie but a goodie, but it's just an oldie. It is Cersei. I've talked about this book plenty of times. I've talked about this book so many times, and it really kicked off my hate of Greek retellings. I thought I liked Greek retellings, and then I read this, and I was like, no. Don't like this. And then I tried other Greek retellings and everything that came back to me was Cersei. And I was like, so I don't know if I didn't actually like Greek retellings or Cersei just like ruined me for them. And that is why she makes this list, because Cersei was, I just hated it. I hated the reading experience of that book. It drove me nuts. And the funny thing about this is I didn't hate it. Like, I'm pretty sure I gave it like a 2.5 because there were sections of it that I was interested in, but I really hated the writing style. I hated it so much. I felt no connection with the characters whatsoever. And I think that's why I don't love Greek retellings, is I feel so separated from the characters that I just don't care. I don't care what's happening. So that one definitely makes that list. This one, I'm really not going to talk about that much because I've talked about it plenty of times. The Maid, I don't get the hype about this one. I've talked about it. I feel like it takes advantage of people who are on the spectrum, and I really don't like it. I don't think it's fun to read, and I don't think it would have affected me as much if I did not have a sister-in-law who is mentally handicapped and has been taken advantage of by people. It's not cute. It's not a fun story. I don't want to read about it. And I especially didn't like the end twist about it because it felt cheap and it felt frustrating and it felt like, I don't know. I just didn't like it. I really, really didn't like it. And I was surprised that more people did not pick up on the issues with this. That's the thing that really like weirds me out, is nobody really saw a problem with this book. And there's a second one coming out and the first one won a Goodreads Choice Award. So I don't understand that one at all. So that one is offensive is why it's on this list. Because I arguably don't think it's a poorly written book. I just think it's kind of highly offensive. I think the author did not intend that way because I'm pretty sure the author talked about how they're on the spectrum and so they thought it was good representation, but I just didn't see that in this book. I didn't see representation. All I saw was someone being taken advantage of and made it into a cozy mystery, and I just didn't like that. I don't think that was done well. Okay, this is this I'm a little afraid to say this one because the fangirls out there. No, it's not Iron Flame. I gave Iron Flame a 5-star. That's not on this list. I gave Fourth Wing a 5-star. That is not on this list. It is Tress of the Emerald Sea. I'm actually reading it for a second time with my husband. In my opinion, really hasn't changed. And this one isn't about not liking it. This is about the fact that I think it's just a mediocre book and I don't get why people are obsessed with it and like are foaming at the mouth about it. And I feel like this goes along with one of the ones that is higher on the list. And there's no order to these. These are just as they came to my brain. And order of read, because I was going through what I've read recently, so I wouldn't pick super old things besides the couple first ones that I mentioned. But I just don't get it. I think the characters are cute. I think they're fun, but there's nothing really that is, it's just not that interesting. There's literally a section of the book for about 50 pages that I could have just skimmed through and probably not even notice that I skimmed through them. Because as I was rereading it with my husband, because I really was like, what am I missing? What am I missing with this? And we're trying to read like all the secret projects because we read Frugal Wizard's Guide together. So I was like, okay, we should probably read this one and then we'll read the other two together as well. We're reading through this and he's even like, people like this? Like it's, and again, there's some interesting moments, but, and we like the comedy in it, but it's just, he even said it, there's nothing happening. It's just kind of boring. And I agree. I don't really get it. I understand a lot of people like it, but I don't get it. I should have mentioned this one earlier because this is another oldie. The Secret History is my least favorite book of all time. I've talked about it in all of these videos. I talk about it all the time. I don't need to go into it anymore. I do not get why people like The Secret History. It is one of the most painful books to read ever. It's so ridiculously long. Everyone is the worst person on the planet in that book, which again, I normally like morally gray characters, but this is a whole new level of morally gray. They are all terrible, spoiled brats and selfish and narcissistic. They're all horrible people, and it was not fun to read about them whatsoever. The people who don't like this book, they get it. They get what I'm talking about, because everyone who doesn't like this book is like, why? Why do you like this? Why is this so popular and considered a classic? What is happening right now? Well, you people who do get it are just sitting there like, and all the rest of us are like, we don't get it. We don't get it. Like most books, I can pinpoint something that people liked. Like Cersei, I can see people liking the writing and the general story. With the thriller books, they're popcorn thriller books. Some people are gonna like just generic thriller books. They're always popular. The Maid, I have a harder time with that one, but I mean, she is a cute character and it is an interesting mystery, so I can see that. Tress in the Emerald Sea, it's written well, it's cute, the humor's funny, I can see it. The Secret History, it is 500 pages of nonsense and I hate it so much. The only book that I hate more than this book, I actually do, one took its place, The River of Ashes, that I read last year, but no one else likes it either, so that does not make it on the list because that one was offensive. That one was one of those books that you read it and you're like, oh my god, someone who hates women wrote this. But it was partially written by a woman. That's why that one baffles me. I don't understand. But that book was terrible. But anyway, Secret History is now second place, I guess, in the books that I hate. But I don't get it. I just don't get it. Elise Kova books. This is an interesting one because there is one Elise Kova book that I like, but otherwise, I just really don't get the hype around those books. Like the Heir Awakened series, the Married to Magic series, the, what is it, Sorcerer Trials Apprentice thing. I read one of those and I was so on it. I just feel like there's so much better fantasy out there that I'm shocked how much people like these. This is a weird one because I feel like I should like them. And again, I get why people like them, but my brain will not connect with those books whatsoever. I just really don't like them, and I generally think they're underdeveloped and they're not interesting. So man, I feel like I'm gonna get some comments about that one, I feel like. We're gonna move right along because I don't have much to say about them because there's not anything to say in my opinion about it. I've talked about this one. You guys know I don't like it. Legends and Lattes. I still have not read Bookshops and Bone Dust. That is my last hope about this book. But for now, this is going to be on the I don't get it list. And it's the same reason I don't really get Trust the Emerald Sea, is it just feels boring. And yes, I like cozy books. I have a whole collection of cozy mysteries. I loved Emily Wilde's encyclopedia. I like cozy books. I just don't get these two. Legends and Lattes, nothing happens. And I don't know if it's because I used to be huge in the D&D scene. Like I used to play Dungeons & Dragons on a schedule every week for like a couple years. So I just don't know. It just wasn't entertaining. I was expecting so much more when they talked about Dungeons and Dragons, and I was super disappointed in that. So I feel like I would like the series if there was a little bit of something that happened in the Legends and Lattes. Like she had to do like a mission or something, because you can still be cozy while doing things. You don't have to just be building a shop. I feel like I would enjoy this book as a video game, because it'd be a relaxing video game, running a coffee shop, etc. Even maybe a cute little movie, like even like a series maybe. But as a book, I was just so totally bored that, and I still gave it a 3 because there are sections of it that I really like. But generally, I was bored that I do not get why this is so highly rated by people. Okay, we are on to our last 3, and these are 3 very recent reads. A Study in Drowning. I don't get it. I should have DNF'd it as well. I almost DNF'd like 4 or 5 times. I did not like this. And I think it's because I just don't like Ava Reid's writing. I really don't. This was my last chance reading Ava Reid. I was supposed to do a whole vlog about it, but I raced through the book so fast just to get it over with, because I didn't like it pretty much from the get-go, that I did not have it in me to do a last chance author vlog, because it was so depressingly bad that I knew from basically the onset that I wasn't going to like it, which is really sad, because it was everything about it. I should like it, but I really hated the characters, and that is not something I often say. Normally when I don't like a book, it is the plot that is happening, and I generally still like the characters, but I really did not like the characters, and I don't think the plot made any sense either. I think it was very poorly planned out, having our main character as an architect, but understanding nothing about architecture yourself, writing a book that is supposedly about architecture, makes no sense, okay? It makes no sense. It was very clear that the main character did not know anything about architecture. Even as a first-year student, you should know basic things. It was more like our main character was an interior designer, which is significantly different than architecture. Like, my cousin is an architect. It is very different what he does from a interior designer. And I'm not saying interior design is bad. I could never do either job, but you should have made her interior design instead of architecture. And I feel like that was a big issue with the book, because it made no sense. And the reasoning for her being somewhere, it just didn't work. It didn't work. Okay, the next one's a big one. The next one is a big one. I literally like just read this. One Dark Window. I really didn't like it. I so didn't like it. I was confused by the magic system for like the first half of the book. I was very confused what was happening. It was not explained very well. I did not like the romance in it, and it's heavy romance. I did not like the main lead male character. He was the most generic, I can't even explain how generic this man was. You could just put a mannequin up and that would be him. That's how generic he was. It was shockingly bad how he had no personality whatsoever. And then our main girl, she also had no personality, like literally nothing. I don't understand how people like this because there were no personalities present, except for the one person I did like. There was one person I liked who I thought may become the romance. I thought it was gonna be interesting. I was like, oh, maybe this is like, oh, she likes the Tamlin-esque character first, the no personality, annoying person first, and then she picks the real interest. No, that's not how that works. No, she was just with the boring guy. That's just how it was. The only reason I'll read the second book is because the guy that I picked, that I like, who had the only personality in the book, is going to be a point of view in the second book. So that is the only reason that I would choose to read the second book. And I'm gonna try it, but I will DNF it if it's as bad as this first one is. So I do not get this one. I do not get this. I was shocked. I was talking to my friend about it because I was like, everyone loves this book. What am I missing? I think it really is my choice of guy. I think that really hurt, the fact that I really did not like the romance, and it kind of ruined the rest of the book for me. Next and last, we have a very, very recent release by Miss Allie Hazelwood, and it's Checkmate. I don't get it. And this is as someone who reads young adult romance. I don't get it. It definitely fell into the issue of an adult author attempting to write a young adult romance, and it's as if they haven't seen or talked to a teenager in like 40 years. Because like there definitely was like social media stuff thrown in there and current day stuff thrown in there, but our characters, well, not the male, again, she is so good at writing romantic interests. The teenage guy who's in this is actually really good. He was really, really good. The lead character, our girl, the main character, oh my gosh, I wanted to push her into a lake. She was so annoying. Everything about her was annoying. In my opinion, this is not young adult romance. This is in between. Like, she's 19, 20, I think. Or she's 18. Did she just graduate? She's either 18 or 19. There's, I'm trying to think of the best way to talk about this. There is sexual content in this that I was not expecting, that is really not in young adult romance. Like I said, I read a decent amount of young adult romance. The extent that was in this book, there's not a lot, but the scenes that there was too much. It was too much for young adult romance. I would be slightly concerned for because young adult romance is read as young as 11, 12, middle grade goes up into young adult. And to me, this is not young adult romance. I would be slightly concerned for a 13-year-old reading this, although they've probably heard worse at school, to be honest. But if a parent were to get hold of this book thinking it was young adult romance and they read the scene in there, they'd be like, pearl clutching. There would be some pearl clutching. So again, it's up to you, as a parent, what you want your kids to read. I don't have kids, so I don't know what age is stuff happening, but it felt a little too adult for a young adult book. The main character sucked. She was so annoying. And then her sisters were caricatures of children because, some kids can act like that, but it's not constant. They are constantly on all the time. It's just not like that. And they were horrible. They were horrible little brats and so annoying. And I found generally not that much enjoyable about this book whatsoever because everyone was constantly making bad decisions and stupid stuff was happening, and it was just so frustrating. And I think I gave it a 2.5. I gave it a 2.5 because I did like the ending of it, but generally it was not good. It was not good. I think she needs to work a little bit on I think she needs to research young adult books a little bit further if she wants to write another one, and potentially tone it down a little bit. Because to me, Talia Hibbert wrote, I think earlier this year, wrote a young adult romance, and it still was a little bit off. There definitely was, it still felt like the characters somewhat are caricatures a little bit. They didn't truly understand what a teenager is like. But I still think that one was way more on the mark than this one was. That one I think I gave a 4, and this one I gave a 2.5 because to me, it totally missed the mark. It totally missed the mark. There are some amazing young adult romances out there, and I would 100% skip this one. And yeah, I don't get why people like this one. And I feel like maybe why people are liking this one is because an adult romance audience is reading it because they're fans of Allie Hazelwood. So they aren't taking into account that it's supposed to be young adult, but it's really not. It's in that in between because it's not adult either. As an adult reader, I would be kind of confused reading it because it does read very kiddish sometimes. Like their personalities are kid-like, but their actions are adult-like. So it's a very confusing book and I don't get it. And someone can explain it to me, please, because I really, really, really don't get it. That is my list as of currently. I'm also doing a books I get the hype of because there are plenty of those. There's a lot of those. I feel like I generally like popular books. It's normally just a couple of standouts that happen. Like, again, like the ones that I just told you about. But yeah, that's everything that I have for you today. Let me know down below if you liked any of these books, what you thought about them, why I should like them. Or why you don't like them, why you agree with me. Basically anything. I love reading the comments. And like the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future content. And I will see you guys in the next one.